Hi, I'm Stargate Pioneer.
And I'm Steven Jondrew, and we're from Better Podcasting, a proud member of the Gonna Geek Network.
Just like the show you're listening to now.
The opinions expressed are those of the individual host.
Check out all the other podcasts at GonnaGeekNetwork.com.
And get ready, because geekiness begins in 3,
2,
1.
Stand by for a brand new episode of All Things Good and Nerdy.
All right, so I'm going to try and not mess this up, but good evening, everyone, and welcome to episode 550 of the All Things Good and Nerdy podcast. Those of you folks that may be longtime viewers and listeners know I'm usually saying good morning. We're normally doing this on Sunday mornings. We are temporarily shifting for now to Thursday evenings, so please get ready for more of what we used to call ATGN After Dark. My name is Chris. I am joined by two hosts today, but only one of the usual band of misfits. Let me introduce first our regular go-to guy for all the comic stuff, Mr. Anthony Bachman.
Welcome to the Thursday Night Bearded White Men Club.
I mean, he's not wrong, and you'll see why here in a second, because joining us after a long time having not been here because other things are going on Sunday mornings. In fact, we used to record at almost the same times, but a fellow member of the Gonna Geek Network, a fellow co-host of mine from the official GonnaGeek.com show, former co-host of mine with the Starling Tribune, and all-around general podcasting wunderkind. I think I said that right. One Stargate Pioneer.
Yeah, Wunderkind. If you watch Ted Lasso over on Apple TV Plus, you know, you get that whole Wunderkind thing going on. I mean, maybe you haven't, but if you have, you know what I'm talking about.
That's right. So, SP, it's great to have you here. We haven't had you on this show in forever, and welcome back. Last time we did this, I think you might have been here when we were doing Hangouts on Air mixed with OBS to do stuff. So we've shifted it a bit.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I would say it's an honor to be here, but we know better.
Yeah. I think the last time SP was on, I think Naki was still a co-host. Like, it's been a minute.
That's true.
Yeah, you guys need to get Naki back.
She's been in the chat room a bit on some of our Sundays, because I don't know if you know this, and longtime viewers of the show, you may not know it. Naki does a lot of streaming on Twitch right now, and she's building up that Twitch repertoire and subscribers and stuff like that. It's got a pretty solid following for a lot of her Baldur's Gate stuff, it seemed like, when I was popping in here and there to see what was going on. I don't play Baldur's Gate, so it doesn't quite click with me yet, but my wife, for instance, loves Baldur's Gate and is on her 4th playthrough, I think, of a game that's been out like a month and a half. I don't know how many hours she's got in it.
Do you know who else plays Baldur's Gate?
Probably some of your hosts or co-hosts on Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D., I would guess.
Cody.
One Cody Goff. That wouldn't surprise me. That seems like a game that would be right up in his wheelhouse, too.
Yeah, he's totally unqualified to play it, but
I can't wait until they talk about it on the next new episode of Unqualified Gamers in 2026.
Looking forward to it.
Are they down to the 1 a year schedule? Just one podcast.
They did that
January
for like
10th?
2 years. They did that for 2 years, and then
the last. And I'm not taking a dig here. I apologize, Cody, if you're listening. I think I was. It was more just a joke. Is that they kind of just stealth drop an episode every once in a while, I guess, because Jonathan's schedule, I think, is very much in flux from the way they described it, the last one that came up. So I think there was one that showed up in my feed and I was like, whoa, they've got a new episode. And I was like, huh. And this was probably months back.
Actually, and Unqualified Gamers is not the correct moniker anymore. It is technically Game Life Balance US was the name of their show that they last published under.
That's true. And then they had their cousin show, for lack of a better term, of Game Life Balance Australia, which I think they're also in what I would call the random schedule for when they drop stuff.
I think they're all unqualified.
I do have to admit, I enjoy following AC on the Twitter machine, the X, whatever we want to call it, because the dude is constantly making cool trips to Japan and then showing me all the cool video game stuff he sees and wants to buy.
Nice.
And it's neat.
Not only that, but all the old like 80s stuff.
Yeah.
Comes across and collects and electronics, toys, whatever. The dude, I have no idea. Does he go into the big garbage scow in the middle of the Pacific and just scoop stuff up and that's where he finds it? I have no idea.
Well, so I guess this is not my personal experience, but I fall down rabbit holes of YouTube channels that like to go video game hunting, and a lot of them like to make their trip to Japan to go video game hunting. And there's just such a readily available stock of old video game stuff, and I don't want to call them junk shops, but shops where they'll sell some of this stuff as junk because maybe it's slightly damaged, so the people are buying like a 3DS for the equivalent of $5 that has like a deep scratch in the back of it, or they weren't able to test it and they work. So like some of these storefronts in Japan that sell video games, electronics, and other tech, like you can find incredible deep discounts there just because of the turnover they have and stuff like that. So what is it? I think there's a channel called Abroad in Japan where they've done some of that. But one of the most interesting ones recently was there's a YouTuber by the name of Metal Jesus Rocks, who's a big video game YouTuber, just did a trip to Japan this summer. And it was like a 4-part series he did of like all of the game stores and tech stores and stuff he went into. And it's just really incredible. Some of the stuff you'll find in there, like modern gaming stuff, old school original NES stuff in box that they're selling in there. And all of it, when they bring it in, they tend to like shrink wrap, put on the shelves, and like looks like it's in almost pristine condition. It's crazy. Some of the tech stuff that you can pick up in Japan. I would love to experience it myself one day, but there's just so many people in places like Akihabara and Tokyo and stuff like that that I think that it would drive me crazy being surrounded by so many people.
I thought those stores were just fronts for the Yakuza.
Well, that's what Willie would tell us. The Yakuza games he's been playing is they're all fronts.
I'm just wondering why they keep like repackaging and selling mine in SP's childhood.
Well, everything everything old becomes new and fresh again. I mean, we're talking about fashion stuff from the early 2000s now, in the late 90s becoming popular with the current generation of kids. Like people unironically wearing Jinko jeans again that they pick up at thrift stores. Craziness.
I mean, I'm not putting the Jinkos back on unless I put the rollerblades back on. They kind of go hand in hand.
That was the point then, but yeah.
I got the Royces out in the garage.
Yeah, I got rollerblades hanging right over there. I'm good to go. Got the inlines.
It is fascinating, though, to see some of these things that I remember. And I was like, man, those were cool when I was a teenager. And now I'm like, holy crap, they're cool again with teenagers. And I'm almost 40. I'm getting old, aren't I?
Yes, you are.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
welcome to my world.
What's this show? 12 years old, I think, is when I did the math last. 10, 12, something like that.
Dude, when you constantly get everyday mailings from the AARP or AARP associated businesses, you know you old.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the fact they still, they're one of the companies still sending mail.
Well, I mean, yeah. Most
they're
of
not going to
people
email anybody.
Yeah, most people in my age group don't know how to use what is it called? A computer.
Well,
they're just
fancy their number machines.
They're going to send out invites to go join the AARP Discord server.
You know what would be amazing is how big the font would be on that server.
Oh, jeez.
124 point Helvetica. Let's get it.
Increase the size of this webpage. Increase. Your monitor can only show one letter at a time.
There you go.
Well, and taking us back to the pre-show, that's where that augmented reality stuff comes into play, because if it's in a headset, it makes it a lot easier to have
you can see it on the
giant
wall.
size. Yeah.
Make it easier.
Yeah, we were talking. Yeah, unfortunately, I need bifocals, and I think with augmented reality, you can adjust it as such. So the resolution kind of mates to whatever your prescription actually is. I know there's inserts that you can get as well, but I haven't done any VR or AR specifically for that reasons. Because I mean, oh my gosh, right now there is a cat that's running across Chris's stream, and I don't want to see that. So I'm going to take my AR headset off. Wait a minute, that's real life, dude.
Yeah, I honestly forgot I left the door to the office open until I was watching the feed, and I see a cat tail next to my head. I'm like, oh, Tally's here.
Well timed with the AR talk, though.
This cat has boundary issues. We can talk about that when we get to what I'm into at the end of the show. Boundary issues.
What the cat is into, too, apparently.
Yeah. I don't know why, but yeah. Oh, man. Well, on that note, since we are doing after dark stuff, we don't want to keep everyone here too late. Why don't we just roll on over into the news of the week?
Live from the ATGN studios on the internet, it's the news of the week.
Welcome to the news of the week. It is that part of the show where we run down what's in our minds some of the most interesting geeky and or nerdy news to have popped up in the past 7 to 10 days, because that's how long it's been since our last podcast, and share with you fine folks who are watching live or listening at a later date. And normally I would kick things off myself and go first, but we do have a guest, so I'm going to offer SP. Do you want to kick us off with your news, or do you want to wait until later in the show? It's up to you, sir.
No, I can go now because I'm so old that I'll probably fall asleep later. So let's just get it out of the way right now.
We should probably prep for when those 4 cups of coffee wear out, so that if you start taking a nap in the middle of the show, we can just minimize your video and we've already gotten your news and be fine. Yeah,
exactly. That's what I'm talking about. Well, let's go ahead and talk about it. Chris, you and I had messaged back and forth on what I wanted to talk about. It is a Apple TV Plus show called Masters of the Air. Now, I got to ask you guys, do either you two have an Apple TV Plus subscription?
For another month, I think. So that was one of the things I wanted to watch on it, but I'm probably just not going to get to. And the cat is back again.
Yeah, mine just ended. I had luckily watched all of Ted Lasso. With the wife. We loved that one. I watched all of Foundation myself, which was utterly fantastic. And then we had started Monarch, which I was really into. She kind of enjoyed. But then, yeah, I'd gotten that 6 months that Chris had informed us of. Someone was doing something on like YouTube or something where you could get 6 months for free of Apple TV Plus. So it just ran out. But yeah, that's the one. This is the one with Elvis in it, right?
Right. I don't think so.
Austin Butler?
Oh, Austin Butler? I don't know. Maybe.
Isn't the kid that just played Elvis in this one? I thought he was in the show.
I didn't know
Austin
anybody
Butler.
just played
Major
Elvis.
Gale something or other.
Yeah, Buck Clavin. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Okay.
I didn't know. You're teaching me
This is how
stuff.
I play the game. What was that one where, Neo was on the bus with Miss Congeniality? This is the new series with Elvis flying planes.
The sad part is I know exactly what you're talking about. You're talking
That's
about
why
Speed.
I love that game I came up with. Yeah, it's called What's That One Where?
All right. So Apple TV Plus, you're getting to the second part of my conversation, which I'll just say it right out. Apple TV Plus, I think, is the best value out there for streaming for really good series. Now, it's one of the ones that you can turn on and turn off. It is increased in price from like $6.99 to, I believe, $10.99 now.
Yep.
But it has amazing shows on it. So if you're into, just the drama and stuff, there's the morning show on there, but I'm a geek, so I like the geeky stuff. You mentioned Ted Lasso, Bach, and that was an amazing, heartfelt, had a lot of heart in it, basically, series. It was a good story for the whole family to sit down and watch. For All Mankind, if you like Battlestar Galactica with that dark crap that what's his name, Ronald D. Moore made.
Yep.
For All Mankind is great for that because there's a lot of bad stuff happens, but it's an alternative history of if the Soviet Union made it to the moon first. So it takes it from 1969 and it goes forward from that into the future with that caveat. So everything changes. You have different presidents at different times. Ronald Reagan is president, but not at the same time as he was. And that's amazing. You have a Foundation, which I believe Foundation, and Bach, you can fight me on it, you can agree with me or whatever. I think it is simply the best sci-fi saga epic that has ever been made for streaming or on the TV, on the small screen, basically. I think it's best ever.
My dad would agree with you on that.
I mean, yeah, I was a huge Dark Matter fan. I was a huge Firefly fan. I'm a big lover of The Expanse, but I think Foundation might beat all of them. But especially when you get into like the actors playing the multiple roles of the genetic dynasty, that's just an amazing level of acting that no one's got to try before. Where what's his name, Ronan the Accuser, has played like 3 different kings at this point, but he's a different version of that person growing up and then becoming the adult again over and over. Yeah, the acting on that show, and then just that one's Heinlein, right? Or is that Asimov?
Foundation's Asimov.
Yeah, Foundation's Asimov.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's just it's one of those big brain sci-fi ones. It's like, oh, we're gonna hit you with some gigantic concepts and then show you what those concepts do throughout like thousands of years of history. Like, it's really cool.
You have shows like Invasion, which I haven't checked out, but it's one of their highest rated shows. You have Shrinking that had Harrison Ford in it, and what's his name from How I Met Your Mother. the big tall guy from Slack's episodes. C with Jason Momoa, Silo, Severance was getting a lot of great acclamations recently amongst circles that I go in. There's also pretty cool stuff like Prehistoric Planet. So you have almost Nat Geo stuff. One of their earlier movies that came out right as the pandemic was starting was Tom Hanks' Greyhound, which is a World War II action flick. And it's him commanding a destroyer that's escorting a convoy over the Atlantic Ocean in World War II. And they have to fight off all these U-boats. And this is before we had Command of the Skies, and there's just a ton of U-boats. It's very suspenseful. I would say it's more suspense than action. There's very little actual story in it. But if you like Tom Hanks, you like action, you like World War II, that's it. Well, talking about Tom Hanks and World War II, he's back at it again. One of the guys back from Band of Brothers and the Saving Private Ryan decided to make this series called Masters of the Air. If you don't know anything about World War II, there was a intense effort early in the war in Europe to fly daylight strike bombing missions from England into the continent to go after German weapons factories and interdict their ability to make war or make war machines. But it came at a heavy cost because of flak and German fighter. I was going to say jets, German fighter planes. They didn't have jets at the time that B-17s were flying. And the biggest thing about they call them flying forts because they thought they were impenetrable. And they flew in formation, so they would cover each other with the 10 guns that they had on board each aircraft. And this is the first. I mean, there was the Memphis Belle movie that came out and stuff like that. But this is the first, I think, realistic view of what it's like to be inside one of those forts as you're just getting shredded, whether it's from the flak, whether it's from the fighter planes. And then they came home and they went out and they listened to music, they drank, and they partied. Because England was not really touched by German bombing that much. I mean, there was the V1s and the V2s, but it wasn't that bad. So they basically lived a normal life. And then yet they had to get up early in the next morning. They had to get on board their planes with the Dawn Patrol, and they had to fly back over to the continent, and they had bombed something else. Just incredible what those men, because they're all men, what those men actually had to do in there. And Masters of the Air, while I don't think it's at the level of Band of Brothers, it really documents a part of the war in a way that has not been documented before, a lot better than it has been. You don't get the training, you don't get the cohesive unit that was flying practice bomb runs in America. It just goes right into they're flying over to Europe, and this is what they get right into it. It's only 9 episodes. Maybe that was a part of it. But Masters of the Air, it's available on Apple TV Plus all those other series that we've seen. If you have never checked it out because you're like, I don't have an iPhone, I don't want Apple TV Plus, you don't have to have an iPhone. It's a streaming service just like anything else. Check it out. There's probably something on there that you like. Ghosted is another one that a lot of people talk about. I mean, just go in there. You can go in on a web page and just check out different series. If you're interested in one, just click into it and read a little bit about it. That's what I would say. Now, Masters of the Air premiered on January 26th. So not quite 10 days ago, Chris, which is the span of your news, but
yeah,
close.
It works.
Yeah. And it goes until March 15th. And of course, it's all going to be available at that point in time. It drops every Friday. So if you're looking at something to watch every Friday night, watch along Masters of the Air on Apple TV Plus. I would highly recommend it because it's as accurate as I've seen from, and I've actually talked to some of these people. They're all long gone now, but I talked to Doolittle Raiders. I talked to people in the 8th and the 12th Air Force that bombed into Europe, either from Africa or England. I've talked to them, and this is accurate to what they said. And it's not the stuff that you get like that's on TV or whatever. If you get these people, they're again all long gone. If you got them to the side and you got them to actually open up, they would just tell you the horror, and you'd be just looking at them like, oh my gosh, that really happened. Yes, it really happens. Check it out. But there is a humanity part of it as well, especially because they come back and try to live normal lives. It's just, it doesn't work.
And I believe I'd also seen some of the fact that they're going to be getting rid of the iTunes for Windows and actually building Apple TV apps and things like that for Windows devices, on top of the fact that I think Roku, Android TV, and I think Fire TV Stick all have their own Apple TV apps now too for accessing this stuff. So Apple TV Plus at first glance might look like something that you have to have an Apple device to access, but it's not the case. And I think it was a comment on Threads that I'd seen that kind of resonated, and it was to this effect that Apple TV Plus is the modern HBO now, but nobody's watching it when it comes to the level of high promotion and high production, value entertainment content they're putting out there, because everything is really freaking clean. And now the thing to realize is everything also does nice subtle product placement all the time too. Nobody's going to have anything but Apple devices, which is kind of entertaining.
That's like happened in Masters of the Air. No Apple products.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But it's also what used to be like, because just F Max, because HBO is a worthless name now, because all of that stuff is being rented out to Netflix. And so, Apple TV Plus, you can't see these shows elsewhere. Where it used to be HBO was a destination, because there were shows and movies on HBO that you couldn't see anywhere else. And HBO had a quality level that they maintained. And it seems like Apple TV Plus is doing that right now, where even the shows I don't like on Apple TV Plus, where I watch the first 2 episodes, they're all extremely well made. There's just great stuff on there.
Yeah, they give away tons of free trials too. Like, if you're on Slick Deals, it seems like every couple months or so, there's another month-long Apple TV Plus free trial. Or if you buy any kind of Apple hardware, I think it used to be a year-long subscription you're getting. I think it's down to 3 or 6 months now.
Yeah, I'm on the website right now. Is that all? Enjoy 3 months free when you buy an eligible device, or subscribe for $9.99 a month.
Yeah.
But then also that may be because I'm logged into my account, so it's asking me to resubscribe. So if you're brand new, you may get the 6 or 12-month offer. Because right now I'm on my, it still has me in there saying, hey, do you want to keep watching Monarch?
I came for Ted Lasso and then stuck around for some other stuff I saw there. The problem is, as with my video game backlog, my television backlog's too huge right now too. So I keep getting paralysis by analysis when it comes to what should I watch next.
It's definitely something that I would advocate to turn on and turn off, much like HBO. I'm glad you mentioned HBO, Chris, because I was just going to bring that up too, because it is very much to me like HBO was, where you have those free weekend trials and you see a few things and then you decide if you're going to get it or not. And with video on demand back in the day, once you were able to start with that and then go into the streaming and be able to pick and choose, I think it's very much like where Max was at the end. And I would definitely take advantage of a 3-month trial. Would get into some of these shows. I would definitely want to have the time to bring some of these shows to a close, though, because like Ted Lasso, for instance, every season ended on a quasi what do you call it? A cliffhanger, quasi cliffhanger, and not like intense or anything, but it makes you think, oh, I want to watch the next thing. And for the rest of us that actually watched it real time, we're like, oh, we have to wait so long. You don't have to. You can just
that would have been awful. Yeah, we were able to go just pour through all 3 seasons. Yeah, because that's the show. Like, if you start Ted Lasso, you want to finish it. You want to finish the whole dang thing. It was so good. I can't believe I enjoyed a show about soccer.
Yeah, or football, as the rest of the world calls it. Yeah,
exactly.
I can't believe either, because it's just not. I admire the athletes that actually are good and play it at a professional level. I just not one for me. I'm more interested in hockey. Maybe that's because I grew up in Minnesota. Don't know. Oh yeah, you betcha. Oofta.
Don't you know?
So I'll go next with my news story then. And this is one we'll probably touch on again some here, because Microsoft's going to be doing an event that sort of touches on this topic next week. But have you guys seen, how do I put it, the kerfuffle that has arisen online in regards to Microsoft's rumored plans for their first party games?
No.
I have not heard of this kerfuffle. I've been tracking another one.
So yeah, there's all sorts of kerfuffles going on. There's one for this, in fact, but let me get to the right page on my notes here. I'm on polygon.com. If you go to our show notes, bit.ly/ATGN550, you can find the article that I'm referencing. I'm going to block off this cat here so that I can talk. But you might have noticed on the Twitter machine, aka X as they're calling it now, Phil Spencer had put a post out, said, "We've been planning a business update for next week where we look forward to sharing more details with you about our vision for the future of Xbox. Stay tuned." Well, what brought this on? Because a whole bunch of stuff started leaking out about Microsoft potentially changing some ways in which they release their games. So what exactly is going on? In early January, there was a rumor that Microsoft was set to release an acclaimed first-party game on a rival system. Consensus quickly settled on that being Hi-Fi Rush, which is a game by Tango Gameworks. It's a rhythm action game, which we have now found out through various leaks and whatnot is coming to Nintendo Switch. Swift on those heels, we found some more rumors and reports that Microsoft is considering releasing Rare's pirate sim, Sea of Thieves, on PlayStation and also maybe on Switch. We got some more confirmation that this may be the case because there was a data mining done on cosmetics for Hi-Fi Rush, which then showed cosmetics that were the Switch and PlayStation logos, meaning this has been updated to include these logos as wearable equipment. And then over this last weekend, the internet kind of blew up if you're paying attention to gaming Twitter or Threads or whatever social media platform you're on, because there were all sorts of rumors coming out again that Starfield, which just came out by Bethesda, would be coming to PlayStation 5. The Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, which is probably the marquee Xbox title this year, being made by Bethesda, might also come to PS5 after a short Xbox exclusivity window. And then even more unthinkably, the Xbox-specific and Windows-specific Gears of War series may also be coming to PlayStation, is what some of the rumors were that had popped out. Now, you have some people that are melting down. You have some people that are thinking about it and going, this is an interesting play, and here's why. But the thing is, Microsoft hasn't officially confirmed any of these plans. These are all leaks of things that Microsoft is supposedly considering. So now you know why Microsoft is kind of rushing to throw together a press conference for next week to outline what some of the plans may be for the future of Xbox games and things like that. I'm not super shocked to hear some of these rumors pop out. Let's put it that way, because we've talked for a while on this show, and I think I've talked about on the Gonna Geek show also, that Microsoft's kind of been angling to make it so that if you want to play Xbox games, you play Xbox games on an Xbox service, not necessarily Xbox hardware. Hence the push to do cloud gaming and things like that. Hence the push to do everything on PC that's on Xbox. They're not trying to limit things to hardware. So the thought that Microsoft might start taking some of these games and putting them on other consoles didn't surprise me, mostly when it came to older games, though. Like the thought of taking the Gears of War collection and putting that out for, say, PlayStation, that's pretty cool. Those games aren't fresh new.
So that's what I'm wondering. So are you thinking more of I'd be getting a Games of War bundle, redo, like Master Series on the PlayStation Store, or that there would be an Xbox game app in the PlayStation Store that I could play Xbox games on?
So the way this has been explained to me online after doing a little research and things like that is Microsoft's effectively a multi-platform publishing party now because they've bought Bethesda, they've bought Blizzard Activision, which put games out on everything. The thought would be you go to your local game store and on the shelf you see Gears of War 5 in a PlayStation box, and you pick that cartridge up or that disc up and you take it home and put it in your PlayStation and start playing. It would be Xbox Game Studio stuff being available directly on these other systems.
All right. I'd be interested in the collected edition of Gears of War on my PlayStation. I'll tell you that. Because I don't want to buy another Xbox, but I would play Gears of War on my PlayStation.
I am deeply hurt. I'm deeply hurt because in the holiday season, I grabbed an Xbox X or Series X. It was the first next generation console I had bought. And I bought it because I wanted the exclusive titles that Xbox had. And now you're telling me I can play them on other platforms. I'm hurt. I feel betrayed. Microsoft, F you.
Well, so potentially
Class action lawsuit.
But
Yes!
here's the takeaway, though, and I'm going to read directly from the article on Polygon because they sum it up. They say, what's Microsoft going to announce next week? Well, there's no smoke without fire. Certainly not this much smoke. So Spencer's expected to talk about Xbox's broader platform strategy regarding first-party games. Going by current reporting, Hi-Fi Rush is the only one of these titles that appears to be locked in for a multi-platform release. All other rumors were that things were reportedly under consideration, with Microsoft, quote, weighing up, end quote, its options. So it's entirely possible that someone got word that Microsoft is looking into these things. Microsoft could decide, no, we're not going to take our Indiana Jones game that we look as a way to sell consoles and put it on other systems. That being said, Microsoft's play this entire time with Xbox this generation has been, you don't need to have Xbox hardware to play Xbox games. Now, that has been a focus on Game Pass and cloud streaming to do that. So I don't know if that would apply as heavily into, yeah, we want you to be able to play an Xbox game on any of these platforms. I don't know in that regard. I think it'd be interesting. Remember, Microsoft's dabbled a little bit. Minecraft's on all of these devices. Ori and the Blind Forest and all the Ori games are on Nintendo Switch also, in addition to Steam and PC. So they have been dabbling. Do I think they might dabble more with some older stuff? I think that's entirely possible. My personal thought would be, I don't think they want to lose that competitive advantage of this is something that would be a system or a subscription seller, and we're going to put it on a Switch or a PlayStation. But I think
don't see us getting the Indiana Jones game, but I could see them rebundling and selling Gears of War. Anything that's 5 years old, they're not making money off that. Why not make money by selling it on another system?
Yeah. I mean, they make an argument here that Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard may have changed their math a little bit because they took a company that is a third party for multiple vendors, Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft. And now because of that acquisition, Microsoft at least has to be multi-platform for Call of Duty, Diablo, and a lot of these Activision Blizzard things because they're legally obligated to because of the merger and things like that. And maybe that has changed the mathematics for some folks to be like, hey, if it's working here, why aren't we doing this with other games? Presumably games that we own. Like I said, and I sound like a broken record, I apologize. I don't see this being like first party, brand new Microsoft Game Studio games. I think there's a very interesting concept here, though, of Gears of War, the collection, like the Gears of War 1 through 4 bundle. That'd be pretty cool if they could throw that out on another console for people to try. Or Halo Master Chief Collection. I mean, how blasphemous is that? But playing Halo on your PlayStation 5. That'd be kind of interesting.
That would seem like blasphemy. Gears of War, it's like everyone's but like Halo, like that's very much that screams X. That's like Spider-Man says Sony and Halo screams Xbox. Like it's very much, that's weird.
And I guess Polygon brings up another interesting point, and then we can probably get off of this one. But they say Phil Spencer's often talked about consoles as just one way into the Xbox ecosystem. Microsoft's ultimate goal is to open up Xbox storefronts everywhere, on mobile and smart TV, for example, to sell Game Pass subscriptions. It wants playing games via Game Pass to be ubiquitous and accessible as watching movies and TV on Netflix. Tellingly, Microsoft publishes Game Pass subscription numbers, but not console sales figures. Now, that's also because they're in a distant third place this console generation by all reports. But the fact that they're focusing on Game Pass subs is kind of interesting. And if you think about the fact that probably most of those people are subscribed to the Ultimate tier, all of those people, in theory, could be cloud streaming games if they so chose to. Now, I know that's not the case because, for instance, during the day, if you pull up a game to cloud stream, there's no wait. But meanwhile, in the evening, if I wanted to play Sea of Stars on my cell phone, there's like an 8-minute queue, which is not terrible in the grand scheme of things. But we do know that people are at least using that service enough that it's causing queues to form up for getting access to streaming.
Well, Chris, let me ask you this. If it's supposed to be cross-platform, can you play Space Invaders on it?
Probably, because wasn't there like it's probably backwards compatible, but I vaguely remember there being some kind of arcade game bundle that was on like Xbox 360 or something like that back in the day. That was a bunch of arcade games that you could play on there. So in theory, if that's backwards compatible, you could play that on your Xbox Series X.
All right, you're gonna have to dig all that information up for me because I want to do that tomorrow night.
Well, fair enough. I mean, in theory, those games are playable via the web. In a lot of cases, they're probably up on the archive.org. Some of those classic things where you can legally play some of those classic games. And I don't know if you could use the Edge browser on an Xbox to go and play those games. That'd be an interesting thing to figure out. I wonder if you could use an Edge browser to game stream. The game streaming's baked into the Xbox, though. For instance, like for today, I was downloaded a game. There was some new stuff that came to Game Pass, and it gives you the option of you can either download it or you can start cloud streaming it right now if you want. And it's just baked into it, which is kind of cool if you have the bandwidth available to allow you to cloud stream. I don't know. I'm very much looking forward to hearing what Phil Spencer and the rest of the Microsoft team talk about when they share the future plans for Xbox. I don't think it's...
When is the actual announcement supposed to be?
It's supposed to be sometime next week. I don't think an official date has been put out there yet.
Yeah, they're probably going to want to get on that.
Well,
they're leaking.
Yeah, I think these...
Valentine's Day. We love our gamers,
right.
And we know you're not going to be out on a date because you can't get any.
I do think that these leaks probably rushed when they were going to announce some of this stuff because, to put it mildly, the fanboy meltdown was bad on Reddit, on other social media platforms, because some people just, anything happens they don't like, they have to melt down. But console fanboy wars are ridiculous as they are, and things like this that run contrary to console wars really mess with people. I don't know why I bought my Xbox if I could just gotten a PlayStation. Well, even if some of these rumors are right,
what I just said,
you could get a PlayStation, but you're waiting months to years for some of these games. So if you don't mind that wait, sure. But if you want to play Indiana Jones when it comes out, sounds like it's going to have to be on Xbox and PC at this point, for instance.
I'm saying I waited long enough.
Yeah, I'm still playing Mass Effect.
That's a good game to play.
I'm about to start it. I say no. I waited long enough. Give me my Gears of War.
I just think it'd be fun.
I have a Gears of War console.
Oh, nice. You got actually one of the consoles? Nice.
Yeah, it's in my bedroom.
Nice.
Have I ever played Gears of War on it? Once.
But that's my news story. I'm sure we'll touch on it next week, assuming that event is before when we record on Thursday. My guess is it probably is going to be, because I don't think they want to do this event on a Friday.
I'll bet you $20 it's going to be Wednesday.
Probably. That's okay.
Wednesday the 14th?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it just kind of makes sense. Yeah,
right.
Then they can make a bunch of jokes about it being Valentine's Day.
We're talking, we've got three married white men here who are like, wait, that's Valentine's Day next week? Huh.
No, the only reason I made that
last week, we're not doing nothing for Valentine's Day.
Neither are we.
Sure. Hey,
I just
my first year married.
Night.
I made damn sure.
At the end of the Better Podcasting recording with Steven, he said, yeah, we might be recording Tuesday next week. And then after we got off the air, like, dude, what the heck? You didn't say anything.
You're like, why?
Yeah. And he's like, it's Valentine's Day Wednesday night. I'm like, oh, okay.
Shit.
Yeah. I'm glad that my wife and I don't do that. We just do our own thing. That's sometime not Valentine's Day if we want to go out to eat. Valentine's
Day is okay to me. That's a time-honored tradition, and there's actually some religious backtones to it. I mean, it's not just a Hallmark holiday. Sweetest Day in October, total Hallmark holiday. Do not support that whatsoever.
Unless you're watching the holiday Christmas movies on the Hallmark Channel.
Well, okay, but it's not Sweetest Day. It would be holiday.
I don't even know what that day is.
Sweetest Day? It's it's around the middle of the month. I know just about when it is because it's like, I want to say it's like, I don't know. I was going to say it's like the third Saturday of the month, but I don't know. I don't even want to look it up. You know why? I don't want that in my search history.
Chris is talking.
You're all muted, Chris. So yeah, is this the time where we nod?
Yeah, I said something insightful, I promise.
Yeah.
I was getting a drink of water and forgot to unmute. I apologize. It was a noob mistake. I'm a rookie.
550 episodes? Yeah, you're a rookie.
Yeah.
Push me back down.
He's just starting.
Send me back down to AAA ball so I can get my skills back in order.
Where did he get 800? Do we need a bucket of chicken, Bachman, for him? Bucket of chicken?
2 buckets of chicken.
You know what I'm referring to?
Is it that's Bull Durham?
Yeah.
Yes, I got it. I need to see that again. It's been way too long, and I think I've only seen it like twice. Yeah, I think I've only seen it like twice. But yeah, I remember bucket of chicken.
I watched it a few years ago, and it wasn't as special as the first time around, but parts of it are more and more. The older I get, more and more hilarious.
Yeah, for baseball movies, for me, Major League was always kind of more my thing, or Rookie of the Year than
just
stuff like
just a bit outside.
I love Major League. I love it.
Ricky Vaughn wings them.
Maze Hayes.
Willie Mays Hayes.
Willie Mays Hayes. Yeah. It was all good. My favorite baseball movie is For Love of the Game. And you know what? It's a superpowered movie.
Because he has super healing powers.
No, he has super performance powers when he's on the mound.
Well, that was just the drugs, I assumed. Also, it was all
the drugs
performance-enhancing drugs. Wow.
Gave him tunnel vision.
Yes, it's magic.
When he says clear the mechanism, that's his superpower.
Yeah, I don't dispute that. I wish I could do that as well. Just like laser focus.
Pretty much.
That would be nice. That would be nice.
Doesn't work that way for me all the time. All right, I'm going to toss things over to you, Bachman. What do you got for us for your news this week?
All right. So, yeah, there was another little one that stuck in there. Yeah, we got good and bad news in the comic book world. The bad news is if you happen to follow anybody on Instagram, on Twitter, on any social media platform, and you happen to follow a comic book artist, there's a good chance this week that you saw a post saying, I, so-and-so, am no longer represented by Cadence Comic Art. For those that aren't aware, like if you're a comic book artist, most of the times, 22 pages a month is what goes into each comic. Drawing those 22 pages a month for a lot of artists is, it's 20 solid days of 8 to 5 40-hour work. For other people, it's 28 to 30 days of work a month to get those 22 pages done. So though most artists now do get to keep their original art and sell it, so that, like Ryan Otley gets paid to draw a page of Invincible and then can sell the pencils and then can sell the inks. And so a lot of artists that are really smart can get paid 3 times to make the same piece of artwork. It's awesome. It's a great way to make money. And then 2 fans get to own that piece of artwork, which is
pretty
great.
Sick.
And then it goes into the comic, gets printed, and everybody gets the other copies of it. But because of the time-consuming aspect of selling art, taking bids, doing auctions, setting up commissions, all this stuff, a lot of these large, basically comic book art warehouses have popped up online. I got 2 Ryan Otley pages back here on this wall from Felix Comic Art. That's where I got like Invincible talking to his dad for the last time. I own one of those pages. Paid a lot of money for that. But Ryan Otley is actually, officially represented by Felix Comic Art. So I know that's where he sends his pages. Artists make, say like, hey, I'm going with this company. This is where my art's going to be available for sale. And you know that when you buy the stuff there, that artist is getting their cut. They're getting their money. The seller's taking their percentage, whatever, like a manager or agent, probably taking 10, 20% out the top, whatever. But they're doing all the shipping. They're doing all the insurance. They're dealing with all the emails while the artists are just making art, which is what artists are good at. Most of them don't have business degrees. That's part of the problem of being a freelance artist, is they don't know how to pay their taxes and they don't know how to pay their bills. They just know how to make art.
But fair.
Sadly, a whole bunch of people this week had to put up announcements saying that they were no longer represented by Cadence Comic Art because apparently there's some shady stuff going down in that business. And at this point, it's mostly just speculation and rumors, but the main word I've heard is skimming. So there was an article from Bleeding Cool. Comic book creators leaving Cadence Comic Art. Over the last few days, a number of comic book creators have been announcing that they will no longer be represented by Cadence Comic Art. This is published on Sunday on the 4th by Rich Johnston and then updated on the 5th. Cadence Comic Art, owned by art dealer Paolo Belfiore, specialized in selling original artwork by comic creators, whom they often sign exclusive deals, also covering individual commissions, convention appearances, and more. Over the last few days, a number of comic book creators have been announcing they will no longer be represented by by Cadence Comic Art. while certain high-profile employees, such as Cadence manager Andrew Chrisman, have also chosen to leave the company. He told us, I resigned from Cadence on Monday, January 29th, and I'm no longer associated with the company. I'm trying to help wind up loose ends as best as I can in service to the many artists that I have worked with over the years, but I'm limited in what I can do. Unfortunately, given the sensitivity of the matter, I can't comment any further details at this time. And then it has a list of here are some of the public posts regarding the situation, and it's basically boilerplate. Almost all the artists have said the same thing. So Kelly Williams says, as of this morning, I am no longer with Cadence Comic Art. So for the time being, any art sales or commissions will be handled by myself or not. Who knows? I'm not into post office trips. Gabriel Hardman put up, I'm no longer represented by Cadence Comic Art. From now on, if you're interested in purchasing original art from me, inquire directly to, and his email address. It's extremely unlikely I'll have another art dealer in the future. Dave Wachter and Tom Fowler did posts that were similar. Tyler Crook, Ethan Brown, just a bunch of them. And I went to look because, I've looked at a lot of these pages before. I bought artwork off some, like I said. You go to the front page of Felix Comic Art, where I got my Ryan Otley stuff, where Ryan Otley's still represented. You got Nick Rodrigo there, Chris Burnham, a bunch of just amazing artists. And the front page, Sanford Green, James Jean, Dana Warren Johnson, just all these names, all these superstar artists, headshots of them. You click on them, and it brings up pages of their artwork. You go to the front page of Cadence Comic Art now, and what on their front page is the Cadence Spotlight. Let me see if I can share this. And it now, where it is. Dang it, there we go. It now shows nothing.
That spotlight is very empty.
They literally have nothing in their spotlight.
Is it supposed to be a light though? Like you put on your phone, right? And you look around, you don't have
this
the
is what
flashlight
Willie uses to light himself during the podcast because there's no artwork there anymore.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so it used to be that there was a huge list of something like I want to say it was 80 to 100 featured artists. And as far as I know at this point, like these are the names of the people that haven't gotten out of the deal yet. And honestly, the only one I know off the top of my head is Robbie Rodriguez, who has done it's Scott Hepburn. Scott Hepburn did some of the Drax the Destroyer comics. I think he actually worked with a CM Punk on the one that he wrote. So, but I mean, and Jeremy Hahn, I've got some of his stuff. But yeah, not a ton of huge names, but like still some solid names. But like those are the only ones left. There are no featured artists left at all. So whatever happened, it was major. And everybody has abandoned ship, basically. And I'm betting these artists are probably either they don't have any work still left at Cadence, so they don't care about leaving, or they're in the process of working on it themselves through their associates, their managers, whoever, and are just getting the deal done. But yeah, this is a company that had they would do commissions. You could go on there, hire an artist, that does public stuff. If you can't go to a con, you go to a website like this and you commission them to do artwork. So a bunch of these artists have posted like, hey, I have commissions list that I'm working on finishing. And when that's done, me and Cadence Comic Art are finished. So I haven't seen none of the artists have just flat out said they're finished and won't finish anything. They are committed to doing the artwork they'd already agreed to do. But after that, everybody apparently it seems is done with Cadence Comic Art. So, I mean, good news for Felix Comic Art. He might be getting a whole bunch of new people applying to have their artwork go up on his website. But then, some of the other artists said, a lot of these artists may not ever deal with a reseller again because apparently this is going to leave a bad taste in a lot of their mouths.
I mean, I would be upset if I had gotten screwed as part of this, and it would make me very hesitant to go down that same path again. That being said, money talks. So if they can keep selling their art with someone who is deemed by their peers or other coworkers they know to be trustworthy and not going to burn them, I imagine with time, that desire to make some extra bank would come into play. I mean, from a fan perspective, I'd hope so, because buying artwork like that is awesome. I like having unique art that no one else is going to have.
Yeah, owning one-of-a-kind art is very cool. Plus, it's just one of those things. It's like, these people get to make more money on the fact that nowadays they own the art, unlike back in the day where, I'm a big Marvel fan. I always have been. I'm a Marvel zombie. But the fact that the back of their checks used to say, once you sign this, we own your artwork, that was some shady-ass shit that Timely and Marvel were doing back in the day. Fucking shady. But so Cadence Comic Art is probably going to be disappearing off the website, off the internet pretty soon. I'm assuming this website's just going to go away.
Sadly, NFT artwork really has not taken off. I know it's still usable, but it's just not something, and maybe it's years ahead of its time, but it's just not something that works.
Maybe because it's the owning the digital thing of it's always weird. But when I read about the concept of the fact that like the original artist gets a percentage of every resale, that's a really cool idea. I like the idea that if you create a piece of art and then you sell it, you get paid. But if someone sells it again, you still get paid because you made the artwork. That concept is fantastic because that artist still made that art no matter who owns it and who sells it. They made it.
It's based on the same technology as cryptocurrency of tracking transactions. That's why that can happen. But I just don't see it being mainstream for a while, and I think that could help these artists. Basically, the NFT is to owning the digital and reselling it. And heck, it doesn't have to be exclusive. You can just sell a comic book out that way, and you can split the proceeds back to the original artists that way. But I don't see it happening anytime soon. Maybe in the future, maybe when my generation dies off, we give all of our, money that doesn't exist to our grandchildren, and they like, oh, we could use this to buy NFT comic books. Yeah, okay. I mean, well, I hope.
Look at it like what Amazon did and basically like bought and ruined Comixology, and now my Comixology app doesn't function anymore. And when I click on it, it takes me to Kindle.
I have not even opened it up in 2 years.
I have to because I read Firepower by Robert Kirkman digitally. I started that book digitally, and so I've read it digitally, and I'm about to hit issue 30 is coming out, I think, in 2 weeks, the end of it. So I still have to go back to that app to finish reading it. But I don't know, maybe somewhere down the future, the genius that created Comixology when it was amazing before the shit storm that Amazon turned it into, someone like that creates something where you publish an NFT comic, and then if someone resells it, everybody that made that comic gets a payment. Like, that'd be a cool idea. But yeah, maybe it's one of those things. It's 100 years too far ahead of its time.
I don't think it's that far ahead of the time. I mean, I've been delving into that model anyway, a little bit with Better Podcasting on Podcasting 2.0, just trying to understand what Podcasting 2.0 is. And at the heart, Podcasting 2.0 is just a regular RSS feed. For those of you that are listening to this or watching this, you don't know, it's the way how podcasts are distributed. And it doesn't have to be podcasts. It could be a blog on a website. There's a lot of stuff that is contained in RSS, but podcasts specifically are distributed via RSS. And somebody set a standard to the tags that go along with podcasts and the RSS feed a long time ago. Apple Podcasts has been the driver of that. Podcasting 2.0 implements other tags like chapters and transcripts and things of that nature. You can also put in tags for streaming Satoshis, which is a small portion of a Bitcoin. So for every minute that you listen to, you have a percentage of a Satoshi that goes to the actual creator. So I know it works. It's being implemented by the co-founder of podcasting, Adam Curry, and his cohort, Dave Jones. There's other people that are entering into the fray. It's very anti-establishment because a lot of the podcast monetization is old school radio, and they want the advertisements and the CPM and that sort of stuff. So they don't really want this value for value model making it out. So they're not really supporting it until there's a upswell enough to say, hey, we need to support something like this. Transcripts is a great example. Apple Podcasts just announced that they will be implementing transcripts into their RSS feed and into their capability. I think it was because they were about to be sued or are in the middle of a lawsuit for those that are hearing impaired, because it's an accessibility issue at that point in time. So I'm very great. And they have the computer power to do it and everything. There's bad sides of it because you're giving away the fact that they can go through all your transcripts and probably not only demonetize you, but deplatform you, I guess was the term that was used a few years ago. So there's pros and cons. The point I'm trying to make, though, is to get to your point of comic books could be distributed that same way as people are actually reading the pages, that those streaming Satoshis, for the lack of a better term, could go and they can get split to the different creators. So if a page has a letterer on that, has an artist on that, has a writer on that, those people can receive their apportionate splits, as well as whoever is actually distributing it. So there's always going to be some take by somebody, but it is a way that artists can be compensated for their work. Yeah, thank you. So yeah, I think it's viable. Do I think it's actually going to happen anytime soon? Unless you, Bachman, do it, nobody's going to do it.
If it's going to happen, it's going to be for indie stuff. It's not going to be for any of the major publishers that would happen. Yeah. But if you had someone say like Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo decide they want to do some weird indie book of their own creation, this is how they distribute it. That's what you would get people interested, is if you got people with big name recognition doing this, then they would give it a try.
It's one of those things, like, I don't see it being this generation of the big creators, but like this is something that the next generation's Eric Larson's going to do. That kid that might not right now maybe 8-10 years old and doesn't know that he wants to be a creator yet, but when that bug hits him, it's going to drive him for 70 years. Like, there's only one person at Image that started in the original Six Bounders that's still drawing his own book. Like, Eric Larson outlasted all of them. Like, that man is a creator at heart. But yeah, there's some kid out there right now that's 10 years old that's going to, like, once he hits 18, he's going to have a couple of buddies and they're going to write a book, and they're going to figure out a way to do a digital thing where they monetize it. And every time you turn the page, like, the writer gets paid, the penciler gets paid, the inker gets paid, the colors gets paid, the letterer gets paid, and the publisher gets paid. Someone's going to figure it out. But yeah, it's like, yeah, I think SP's right. Like, it's a ways off, but you know, it's doable. Like, it's definitely doable. The technology's there, so someone's going to figure it out. It's going to be those ones. It'll be an independent comic book that'll show up on Kickstarter, but it's going to be delivered digitally, and it's going to be the first of its kind, and it's going to blow people's minds.
Sounds cool to me.
The other small news story I got was that Ryan Otley hit me up on Instagram and made me want to spend more money, even though I've been trying to not buy any more Funko Pops, because I don't need any more Funko Pops. Robin Hood is my favorite Disney cartoon of all time. I went to the comic book shop the other day. They had 6 brand new Disney Robin Hood Funko Pops. I'm like, are you kidding me? No, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to
Did you get the fox? Did you get the fox?
No, because I already have one. I have the artist version of him, so I have him. So it's like, I got it. I don't need them all. So I didn't get King John. I didn't get any of them. But with, you know, the world's greatest comic book ever, and now freaking they've done, you know, a season and a half of the world's greatest cartoon, Funko finally went ahead and we got
those are cool
Funko Pops from Invincible. And so far they're showing Omni-Man, Bloody Omni-Man, Invincible, Bloody Invincible, Adam Eve, and then the Thank Mark Thank action sequence of Bloody Omni-Man standing over his bloody son. What do you have in 500 years? I'll have you, Dad.
You're buying all of these, aren't you?
I told the wife I have to, and she's not happy. She's like, you just took Pops out of the desk, out of the den, because you don't have room for them. I'm like, yeah, but they're not invincible. I've got my Mark and Eve above my flashing on-air light. On one side is Mark and Eve, on the other side is Bloody Mark and Eve from the original Skybound action figures. Like, I have a brand new Skybound Chrome poster that I was sent from Skybound for being part of their beta program above the desk that I'm sitting at. Next to it is my Josh Howard page from Super Dinosaur that I won because I named the letters page in the Super Dinosaur comic. I love Kirkman and the Skybound universe, but I love Invincible more than anything. It's the greatest superhero comic book in the universe. It beats them all. Mark Grayson is the best. I'm at least going to have to get just the regular Mark, like at least the Invincible, just the straight up, just the OG. Well, I got to get that one.
Here's the question. What's the chase going to be?
Yeah, I don't know. Cause I mean, they've got like the Bloody Mark and the Bloody Omni-Man both have little stickers on them, where one's like a Funko exclusive, and the other one is like GameStop exclusive or something. But yeah, who knows what the chase will be? Like, it could be Mark in the blue costume. Omni-Man could be in his what is it, the Alliance of Planets costume.
Well,
like, either one of them could be in a chase figure where they're in their freaking the Emperor of the Viltrumite costumes. Like, there's so many options.
Well, the real question is, where's Alan the Alien?
Oh, you know he's coming in wave 2.
And the Battle Beast.
It's going to be Battle Beast. It'll be Alan, probably a Rexplode, maybe a duplicate.
Robot.
So robot. They'll have a duplicate. They'll want you to buy 4 of them. And I mean, Mauler twins. I want a dual pack of the Mauler twins. How can you not have the Mauler twins? Like, they're so awesome. And then they'll do a creepy Angstrom Levy with his big, gross brain.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, like if this show goes 8 seasons like I'm expecting, I could. They're gonna put out 80 Invincible Funko Pops, and it's gonna get me in trouble with my wife because I was good. I haven't bought a pop. I honestly, off the top of my head, I think the last pop I bought was I have Cocaine Bear with leg, and she wanted it. It's hers. It's not even my pop. She wanted it. I bought it for her. That's her pop.
Well,
I can't even actually remember the last pop I bought.
Maybe you need to start getting rid of some to be like, okay, I'm going to sell some of these ones so I can get Invincible.
I might have to. I mean, I could sell off my Ghostface, the one that nobody wanted when I picked it up, and that sucker's going for $470 on the Funko Pop app now.
That's how some of my Mass Effect ones are.
I might just sell my Ghostface and just buy the Invincible line.
Got a question for you. Do you have a database, a spreadsheet or something that lists all the pops you have and their current value?
There is. It's because it was on Funko Pop's website because there was a place called, it was a DB. It was like, what was the one for my Funko Pop?
Okay, so your answer is no, that you don't currently have anything.
I do have one. I just have to remember the website because I put it all in the website, and then Funko bought them, and then for a while Funko had everything updated, and they were constantly updated, and then they crashed their own servers 3 times and erase everybody's information 3 times. So I will not scan my pops back into their damn app again. But there is a website, because I looked it up the other day because I was trying to sell some stuff, and I do still have, it's like the DB Collection Core website or something still exists. Oh, it's HobbyDB. That's what it is. Yeah, I can open up my tab. HobbyDB has all my Funko Pops in it. 282 collectibles, estimated value $7,135.
All right. Well, you just took away one of my ideas for a segment for you. I was going to say, every week I want you to put in or update 5 of them, and I want you to detail whether they've gone up or down in price and what their value is.
Yeah, that would take a while.
Yeah, but you know, how many episodes you got left of the show?
I like 3.
3.
All right. So I guess you got, I don't know, 70 to do each episode.
I got to do like 90 Funko Pops an episode. These are going to be long episodes, Chris.
At a minimum, we got to do 4 more, because if we're going to quit, it's going to be on 555.
555.
Triple nickel.
Solid.
Triple nickel.
If we're going to quit, that's when we're going out, is on triple nickel. Otherwise, we're going out on 1,000.
My Miles Morales in his casual clothes with the hoodie went up. That's $110.
Yeah. Okay, so on episode 556, if you make it that far, then you start doing that, Bach. There's your segment.
Lord willing, we make it that far.
The new pop update. Oh dear God.
And maybe update 3 and then note 2 that are just amazing value, like $1,000 per Pop Funko that you wish you would find at a garage sale.
Oh, it's ridiculous. Some of the ones that are worth so much money, but like they did a bunch of ones. What was it? They did a Grogu at the Star Wars 2023 Star Wars Celebration. That was, I want to say, 1 of 100, and they were diamond encrusted. Like they had jewels on them. Like some of the Funko stuff has gone insane.
That's ridiculous. Yeah. I just want a normal Funko, not something that's been laced with LSD.
Well,
what I still love is one of my most. Well, yeah, you should be able to. One of my favorites still is that in my top 6 is Johnny Lawrence, because it's the first, as far as I know, only mislabeled Funko Pop that was made public, because it's Johnny Lawrence from the Karate Kid movie, but it was put on the shelves as a Pop television Funko Pop. before Cobra Kai was.
Yeah, I was
going
to say this was before Cobra Kai, right?
Yeah, it's a 10-year-old Funko Pop, but yeah, way before Cobra Kai existed. But they put it was supposed to be a movie pop, and it's mislabeled as a television pop. It's like, yeah, that was not a TV movie. That was a real movie.
I did catch up to Cobra Kai. On one hand, you know, I was very enheartened by bringing my, you know, not childhood, but I don't know, tweenhood or whatever, teenagerhood. Maybe I was in my 20s. I don't remember, forward in time, right? So yes, it was nice for that. But the CW-esque, will they, won't they, impossible thing to make the relationship go sideways when you're, I don't know, 16, 17. I'm like, no. I've done this before with the Arrowverse. I do not want to do it again. That said, I have watched all the available Cobra Kai episodes.
I was gonna say it's worth watching it just for Zolo Madureira. Freaking Blue Beetle on that show was amazing. That kid Miguel is so great.
He is.
I would watch that whole show just for him. He's fantastic in it. I love the fact he became a superhero based on his acting in that show, basically.
Yeah, but okay, true. But he still has the will he, won't he with the
He didn't write it. It ain't his fault. He didn't write it.
I know, but I don't want to watch that crap. I mean, gosh, the teenager stupidity out there.
Well, come on, 4 Karate Kid movies, and Daniel was trying to get a girl in 2 of them. Like, it's part of the Karate Kid.
Yeah, but he had a cool car.
It was a cool car.
I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
But yeah, my pop collection might grow again. But I gotta sell some of these fuckers. I'm gonna have to do some eBaying.
Yeah, or Mercari.
Just be careful
what
on
the hell's a
eBay,
Mercari?
because you go over $600 a year and they send you that lovely 1099 or whatever.
Yeah,
you got to report on your taxes on eBay now.
Yep.
I'll make sure that never happens.
Mercari is a similar site to eBay where you can sell collectibles and stuff like that. I've bought some wrestling micro brawlers and stuff on there before, generally at better prices than I find on eBay. I don't know how their cut differs from eBay's cut.
I'll have to look that one up. Yeah, I haven't checked out that site yet.
But they sell all sorts of stuff, because my wife sells perfume on there too, because she's a perfume collector, and when she finds stuff that she doesn't end up liking and stuff like that, you can't really sell it, return it, or anything like that because it's been used or stuff like that. But there's a whole secondary market for it that I guess is massive on like Mercari. Well,
plus cosmetics have like their own different rules and stuff, because it's been like, when it's been used, like makeup and stuff is very different.
Yeah. So that's just another place to look if you're going to sell that. There's a lot of toys and comic collectibles and stuff sold on there. So I assume that the rates might be better for sellers there.
Yeah, I mean, there's some Funko Pops in this room.
Just a few.
There's a couple.
I'll admit I have a few. I'm looking at the Hulkbuster, Director Coulson with Lola, the Child. I've got some. Oh, it's downstairs. I got some BSG ones too. So
yeah, I haven't bought any in a while, and I need to start cleaning out some of them, I think, because
I moved the Daily Planet, and so somebody got moved out of the bathroom, and giant Gladiator Hulk is now up on the bookcase and has joined me and watches me as I paint miniature figs.
Nice.
Technically, this is a Pop Funko.
Well, yeah. I mean, I've been telling Willie that we'll have to shut that shit down for a while. Straight Negan style. Shut that shit down. He even has a little tiny Lucille. That's the best thing. He's got an itty bitty bat.
I too have some Funko Pops at my desk.
There's
the Green Ranger.
Little Green Ranger action. This is what happens when, kids grow up to be adults and get a little money.
Master
buy the
Chief's
toys they wanted when they were kids.
Yeah, and Master Chief's back there too, keeping an eye on things for me.
Helmet on or helmet off?
Helmet on.
I like it with the helmet on.
Season 2 of Halo starts, is it this week or next week too, I think, by the way?
It looks like it is getting breached.
Yeah, I'm excited. I need to get caught up on season 1 so I can start season 2.
No, you don't.
I think I only watched 2 episodes of that, 2 or 3. I mean, it was interesting, but just not great.
You quit it when it was good.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, they went off there. So the story was actually pretty good. But if you play the game, like I've actually played the game.
The lore of the game is not the same as the TV show.
No. So for the first time in my life, I've reached the point where I've done something before I've seen the movie. So now the movie is like, it's like Starship Troopers. I'm like, yeah, that's great. I never read the book. If I read the book, I would be pissed about it. So yeah.
Yeah, the book is a much better story, but the story that Paul Verhoeven tells in the Starship Troopers movie is still good.
But
Verhoeven's
the book
awesome.
Does not have Denise Richards in the shower.
That is correct.
True. But see, I was just wondering, was anybody else thrown off that Master Chief was a leprechaun? That just threw me for a loop.
Huh?
Did none of y'all watch American Gods?
Oh no, I didn't watch American Gods.
The guy that plays Master Chief is a leprechaun. He's the king. He's the god of the lucky Irish. And he hates short jokes because, he's like 6'3". Yeah, I found it very weird that Master Chief was a leprechaun. It didn't make any sense.
I don't know. I have to watch. That's been one that's been on the queue for. But hey, we're already getting into stuff we're getting into. So let's wrap up the show with our little bit called "What I'm Into." Longtime viewers and listeners know this is our chance to share with you guys just what kind of geeky and nerdy stuff we've been getting into. Because hey, you may want to go check things or check those out yourself. And we have a guest with us this week, so why don't we let our guest go first? Let the people know what you've been getting into, SP.
You know, I'm actually going to transfer this a little bit because my son is dating this young lady who I've not met yet. They're states away, that sort of thing, right? But she's pretty cool. I mean, she's into geek and nerdy stuff. I'm like, I wish I would have found somebody like that. She actually likes to read and has never read graphic novels or comic books or something like that. So for Christmas, Bachman, you're going to love this, even though it's not Invincible. For Christmas, Saga. I gave her. Yes. How'd you know?
I know comics, man.
He's the comic whisperer.
If you're going to give somebody something to get them into new modern comics, you give them Brian K. Vaughan's version of, I'm going to create a Star Wars universe with all my own shit. Yeah.
She read it.
Fiona Staples' artwork. Like it's one of the most gorgeous books ever.
She read it in 3 hours.
Wow.
So I tried to prod my son. I said, she's in it. You need to it's only like the trade paperbacks.
First 5-issue trade. Okay.
Yeah. They're only like $12 a piece, right? Very affordable.
No, the first one, all the image trades. The first one is anywhere from $5.99 to $10.99.
Right.
And then they're all $20 after that. They all make their first trade
at first taste
half
free.
Right.
Yeah, well, on Amazon, I think it's like 12. It's 12 to 15 cheap. On Amazon. Yeah. So okay,
the first trades are always super cheap. Image has done that forever because they're geniuses. The first one's always cheap.
So it's still $12-15.
Yeah,
in my opinion, that's less than a movie, right? So I'm like, okay, you need to do it. And he but Dad, I don't have any money. Like, you work a full-time job. You have enough money to get a freaking $12 thing. So he didn't. So he lives states away. So I sent him from Amazon a volume 2. He gave it to her. She ate it up within hours, right? So I said, okay, third one's on you. All right. We're in February. This is the beginning of January. We're in February. Nothing.
You just made it easy for him for Valentine's Day.
So Valentine's Day is coming up, right? What are you going to get her? Oh, probably some jewelry, something like, okay. So Dad to the rescue for the third time. He doesn't know that yet, but it's coming, and it's going to be worth more to her than anything else he gets. So there you go. That's like I said. I actually have the first trade paperback, and I think I have the individual issues beyond that downstairs in my collection.
Oh, it's not bad.
Yeah, right. So I have that here, so I don't need to go out and get the trade paperbacks. But yeah, he needs to step up, and
for sure,
his dad, not so subtly telling him you're doing it wrong.
You're fucking up, bud.
Yeah,
your game is weak.
But I mean, he won't listen to this. But yeah, it's coming.
Yeah, you're one ply, bud. You're one ply. You're soft.
it's coming, and he will get it in time for V-Day. I will mail it off tomorrow. It'll be there in time, and then he will give it to her, and he will be the hero again.
Nice.
So
I'm trying to think. I want to say on my shelf back here, I have the trades 2 through 12, and because I've given the first trade away like 3 times.
I know. So
and then,
here's the thing.
When I got it for the wife, I didn't give her the trades. I gave her the first collected hardcover.
Nice.
So I think it's the first 3 trades. She hasn't touched it yet because she's got a long reading list. But and I gave it to her like 3 years ago. But like I have a present for her in the garage that I've had for like 4 years. I got her a stuffed Gus.
Oh, nice.
So I can't give it to her yet because she doesn't know what it is.
Right.
But once she reads that first volume, like the next birthday, she'll get that present and she'll love it. Because Gus is the fucking man. Like he's great. But yeah, like that book, like you can never go wrong giving somebody Saga as long as they're of an appropriate age for the mature level of it. Because it starts mature, stays there. But it is some of the greatest storytelling ever.
He was here over the holidays, and I ordered it on Amazon for him to take back with him, and it didn't come in time. So I gave him my original trade paperback, not issue 1, but my original trade paperback. And so that's what she read, was my original trade paperback, number 1. And then I bought another one, so I have it. I need to get the issues at some point in time if I'm going to have the collection, right? But I just didn't catch on to it right away.
Yeah, the longer you wait, There's like Saga, Walking Dead. Yeah, going back and getting the early ones on those.
You guys are missing the point here, is that it's cheaper for me to design a time traveling machine and go back and grab them and come back.
100%.
When you grab me an Invincible 2, because I realize that's the only one I'm missing in my collection. I literally have 1 and then 3 through 144. When I went crazy buying stuff, I somehow didn't get my number 2.
We'll have to talk about compensation.
All right.
Fair enough.
And I hope to heck it doesn't change anything in the future, because I would hate to change the future just by getting you an issue 2 of.
That's true. It won't change nothing.
You think?
No butterfly effect. I'd just be sitting in a box anyways. But I need it.
We hope.
Yeah, so that's it. That's all I'm gonna. I mean, I already said Masters of the Air. That's what I'm watching right now. So yeah,
nice.
All right, so I'll go real quick because mine's not super in depth. There's new Skull and Bones open beta this weekend, so we're starting today actually. So I'll probably play some Skull and Bones with my dad, since cross-platform is working between PC and Xbox, and I believe PlayStation for it. And my understanding is any progress you make in the open beta will carry over when the game releases. I think it's next week. It's like a week out from launch. So
nice. They're actually letting you keep progress?
They're letting you keep progress this time around. So if you've been wanting to try it, I think it's literally just an open beta for everyone. Just go to your game store of choice, be it the PlayStation store, the Xbox store, whatever, and download it and give it a try. It's fun. I don't think it's worth the $80. It will be brand new, but it'll go on sale at some point in time, and I may pick it up. Other things I've been getting into. I started a new show on Amazon Prime. It was my first time experiencing Prime with commercials. I don't understand the point of their commercials.
Yeah,
when all it does is give me 2 commercials to start the show, both of which are for Amazon Prime Video.
Can I talk now?
Yes.
I was stupid.
Uh-oh.
I subscribed $2.99 because I want to cut that crap out.
Well, my first experience with it, at least, was it was 2 minutes of commercials to start a video and then nothing else. It didn't interrupt my show or anything like that.
Well, it does. I will tell you it does. Because, we were just watching a show as we were having dinner before I came to do the podcast, and it was in the middle of a show. Because the show we're watching is 70 minutes long. You get commercials in the middle of it. I think it depends on the size of the show, too.
Well, I watched the first episode of Mr. and Mrs. Smith, which is about an hour.
Okay.
And it was but maybe they wanted to give you easy commercials in the first episode to pull you in. I don't know.
Especially on the pilot, maybe.
I've really enjoyed it. The whole series is out right now for Mr. and Mrs. Smith. And if you're familiar with the movie, the Brangelino one that came out many years ago, it's the same concept here, but only they kind of twisted a little bit, which is Donald Glover's character and Maya Eskreen's character, I think is the actress's name, both sign up to work for a spy agency, and the spy agency forces them to be married together and performing missions is the twist they put on it.
So there's no, hey, honey, are you still there? Are you still okay?
This
is
this is two spies they put together, and my guess is as it progresses, they become friends and then lovers or something to that effect as it goes. But I watched the first episode and I really enjoyed it. But to be fair, I'll watch just about anything Donald Glover is in because I think Donald Glover is great. And one of the nice things that came out of this is when he was doing the press tours for this, they were asking about the Community movie. He's like, oh, I'm totally on board. I'm super excited about it. And he actually was dropping some little nuggets, like the concept is everyone's coming back for a reunion for the Community movie.
Everyone?
No, it won't be Chevy. It won't
not
be Chevy.
And Keith David, I don't think has been signed on yet. And I'm strangely, Yvette Nicole Brown hasn't confirmed one way or another if she's in it.
Are the Russo brothers directing?
Not that I know of.
Oh, that's a mistake.
I imagine that the Community movie made for Peacock might be a bit too small potatoes for the Russos at this point in time.
I mean, okay, I get it, but there's some notoriety that would come to that from them.
It's true.
And they're getting all their extraction money making action films for Netflix with Thor. Like, they could take a couple of months to go do a Community film for scale.
I mean,
it's not like they need money. They did Endgame and Infinity War. They don't need money.
You're not wrong. So the script is done evidently, and they're ready to film. And it would have, I guess, filmed had the writers and actors strikes not occurred. So my guess is probably sometime this summer they're going to film the Community movie.
I wonder how many projects are going to fall between the cracks because the stupid cheap money isn't there anymore.
It could be.
Yeah. So we'll see if this happens or not.
I mean,
I hope so.
One of the producers for it is Joel McHale, so that probably helps too.
It doesn't matter if they can't fund it.
Well, as of last conversation, Peacock had already written the check for it because they wanted it. Hopefully that remains the same.
They had nothing else.
Yeah. They're trying to cash in on the fact that Community, much like we saw with Suits, is one of those shows that has a weird second life on streaming right now, and there's a lot of interest in it. Now, part of that was in part because of the strike, and there was no new stuff and things like that. I mean, hell, there's even a Suits spinoff coming now because of how well Suits did on Netflix.
I mean, I'd watch Suits because
I love Suits.
What's her name?
She's not going to be in it again.
No, she is. She is.
No, wishful thinking, I see. Yeah. And then last thing I've been getting into, I kind of touched on my cat's personal boundary issues. Well, we'll talk about this one real quick because it was entertaining, is that we ended up putting another litter box in the house because the cats have been having some issues fighting, so we've been keeping them separated a little bit. And that litter box is in the half bath on the main level of our house. Well, my cat has decided that boundaries don't mean anything. So just this morning, as I got up for work, went in and I had to do my morning constitutional, let's put it that way, for lack of a better term. And I didn't shut the door. I had the door cracked, and then the cat just comes barreling through, gives me a dirty look, and then hops in her litter box because she has to do her business while I'm doing my business this morning. And it was the weirdest thing.
Staring at you, giving you the evil eye the whole time.
The litter box has a lid and a door on it, so we couldn't see each other. But it was the stupidest, funniest thing this morning.
Until the smell came out.
I was gone. Well, that might have been a problem more for her than me. Not to get too graphic here, but it was my morning constitutional. We'll just leave it at that before I went down to go to the office where my coffee was making. But it was the funniest thing to me is like, I didn't shut the door, but I had put it shut and it just hadn't latched shut. And she just comes barreling in because like she flung herself at it, gives me a dirty look, and then goes into her litter box. I'm like, you could have gone in your litter box anytime between now and whenever. No. And this is when you decide you have to go in. Where's your boundaries, cat?
Yeah, just staking the boundaries out, apparently. Yeah.
Well, this is the cat that when she her other litter box upstairs, she likes to make aggressive eye contact with people while she's in there. She'll hang her head out and just stare at you as you walk by, and you're like, what the hell?
That's just weird.
You need to get the paint gun out. Boom, 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 boom.
Cats are funny little beasts. I just thought it was a funny story, well worth sharing here. So this has been, I'm stealing a segment from the Gonna Geek Show, Toilet Talk. We just did it on ATGN.
Toilet Talk. Yeah, there's a whole channel on the Gonna Geek Discord server for Toilet Talk, by the way. You should put the story over there.
I will do that.
Uh-huh.
But that's what I've been getting into. There's probably some other stuff I'm forgetting, but Bachman, why don't you wrap things up for us? What you been getting into, sir?
Did some, moving some stuff around the den. You can't see it, but I cleared off like some of my Freddy and Jason stuff. I finally got frames for my buddy Justin Stewart did a pair of Freddy versus Jason art pieces for me, and they're like 8 by 10.5. So I got me some nice, basically 9 by 11 frames for them. Weirdly though, I had set up my den to where when you looked at my bay window over here, I have a claw going over a machete. I had a hockey mask, I had a hat, and all the Freddy stuff was on the right, and all the Jason stuff was on the left. And of course, when the artwork shows up from Justin, he did Freddy versus Jason. They're facing off, and Freddy's on the left, and Jason's on the right. So I had to take everything down off my walls and remove all of it to swap sides because I just couldn't do it the other way. And so now I've rebuilt my Freddy wall on the left and my Jason wall on the right, and now it matches up with all the artwork, and I love it. And so I've been moving stuff around the office, clearing off shelves. I got me a new, this is like an unsanded, just wood stack. These are all these are all primed, unpainted miniature figures in these rows of shelves here on my bookcase right now. So my one bookcase to the side of my desk is basically just going to be 3 different levels of all Warhammer stuff because it's taking over my office. It's taking over all my free time. It's what I do now is Warhammer. And so I went and got me more shelves to put minis on. I went and got me more paints.
Nice.
Found out I did not win the first painting competition I was in, but I did get some votes. I had 3 votes. The winning figure had 6. So not bad. I did okay. I'm not angry about it.
How many votes total did they say?
It was roughly like 20.
Okay.
And there were five miniatures in the contest. So, I mean, yeah, getting 3 votes, not bad.
No.
You know what? Do it 15% or whatever. But yeah, it was an experience, and I picked up the new miniature fig for this month, which is a little ghoul and like a little tiny sucker. Was one of the ones like the normal bases for Warhammer figures are 30 millimeters. This is like a tiny like 15 millimeter base, like it's itty bitty.
Mm-hmm.
So once I put together, it should be a quick paint job. But I'm going to enter the contest again because it was just fun. And then for what we've been getting into shows wise was on Amazon. We've been watching The Wheel of Time. The wife and I just absolutely loved that show. When like Wheel of Time came out and Lord of the Rings came out, and everybody thought the Lord of the Rings show that they'd thrown all the money at was going to be amazing, and everybody realized, oh no, it's the Wheel of Time show is amazing, and nobody's watching that Lord of the Rings show.
Well, I don't know about that. I enjoyed Rings of Power a lot more than I thought I would.
The one black elf was the only cool character. The rest of the show, like I don't even remember anybody. Like it was just blah.
Yeah, I guess early Gadriel, what's her name? The
Galadriel, right?
Galadriel, early Galadriel. Very, very cute. I like her, but when you see her later, it just doesn't match, the character when you actually see her in Lord of the Rings. So yeah, okay, I understand that.
It's just there was just something missing from that show. Like there was just whatever it was 96% of what everybody thought it was going to be, and whatever that 4% was, it was just missing the damn heart of the show. Something wasn't there. Maybe it could have been Peter Jackson. Might have been the thing that wasn't there making it work.
Legolas, the hobbits. Yeah. I mean, you could go on and on.
The dwarf. You didn't have the dwarf.
Toss me.
You needed what? Gimli. Yeah, you needed Gimli. But yeah, like
I mean, there were dwarfs.
But not the dwarf. But the Wheel of Time show, we love it, and yeah, I had ordered a couple more supplies. I got me some new goggles for painting and a couple other things. And when I did that, I got offered my 1 more week of Amazon Prime for $2.99, but with commercials because I didn't pay the extra. I was like, okay, whatever, it doesn't matter. We've watched like 3 episodes of Wheel of Time over the last 3 nights. And we get like 2 or 3 commercial breaks in the middle of the episodes now. So it's really weird. They're in good spots. Like it's not YouTube jarring. Like they don't happen in the middle of someone saying a word. So like at least they are placing their commercials. It's usually between a cut scene, between 2 scenes. But yeah, it's very weird now to be watching a show that you've seen without commercials and now watching it with commercials. But also like I'm an old school 80s kid. I watched everything on Fox as a kid. I'm used to commercials. I'm not giving you more money. Like I'll watch your stupid commercials. Whatever.
Have you read the books though? Or
no,
at least
I haven't.
The book. Okay, that might explain. Okay, so we were talking about this earlier. I watched or I read like half the book and then tried to watch the episodes, and it was very jarring to me, the differences in between the two. But at least I had a concept, because as you're watching the first episode in particular, you have no idea what's going on, and it's almost like I don't care until you get to the end, and then you're like, oh, I so care. But it is different than the book.
Yeah, see, and this is one, my buddy Colin had told me over and over, he's like, dude, Wheel of Time series, like, you like fantasy, you like sci-fi, like, he's all, everything that you talked about, like, and if you read this, you will love it. So I have the first book, but I haven't read it yet, and the show is coming out, and I was like, well,
it's
like,
a long read.
Oh, yeah, well, and I only have the first book. I don't have, like, all 46 of them, so, but then again, I started reading the Horus Hearsay novels for Warhammer. There's 52 of those. I have the first 2. I don't know if I'll end up reading all 52, but yeah, I want to finish season 2 of Wheel of Time, and then I'll actually get started on the first book.
It's okay. Just go to YouTube and watch the playthrough.
Just watch somebody else read the book for me.
Well, unfortunately, that would be copyright infringement unless they allow that. So an audiobook might work for you, though.
I actually can't. I have tried. I can now read books digitally on Kindle. That took me 5 or 6 tries for that to even work. If it's just a novel, not a comic book. I started reading Mr. Mercedes, and I read the first 50 pages 5 times before any of it stuck in my head. I cannot do audiobooks. I can be doing nothing else, sitting and listening, and as soon as you hit stop, I forget everything that's happened in the story. I don't know what it is. Audiobooks go in one ear, out the other. I can listen to podcasts all day long. And I remember jokes from Douglas movies from an episode I listened to 3 months ago. I cannot for the life of me remember anything I've ever heard in an audiobook. I don't know why, so I gave up on them. So yeah, I got to read my books either, in paper or on a screen. But yeah, I have to actually read them or they don't stick in my head. But yeah, so I do have the Wheel of Time book I'm looking forward to. And yeah, I love that show. I think that show is fantastic. Some of the concepts are so freaking cool. And I mean, it's fun acting. I love the special effects, the way they do turns of phrase and changes of kind of the archetype of some of the D&D characters and stuff. But yeah, I totally love it. I hope that, the book will just make me love it more. Because yeah, I mean, as someone who, I have 3 Dark Tower tattoos, and then I watched the quote unquote Dark Tower movie. Like, it was very hard for me to wrap my head around the fact that they were trying to turn 8 books into one film. Like, fucking really? But at least the Wheel of Time, they didn't try to turn 40 books into one movie. They're like, no, we're going to give you like the first story.
Let me ask you this. What do you think the time frame is in human history that occurs? The Wheel of Time.
The Wheel of Time?
Mm-hmm.
You mean all the books or like the first book?
The first book, what you're watching now on.
I mean, I would guess that like if the first book is anywhere near the first 2 seasons, it's maybe 50, 100 years total.
Well, what time frame in human history is it though? Like, it's 2024 now. What do you think the year would be that occurs?
I wouldn't think that it was a year. I would think it's Game of Thrones. It's on another planet in their own timeline.
Okay. Have fun reading the books, buddy.
Oh shit. Is the Wheel of Time supposed to be some Earth shit from back in the day? Or in the far distant future?
Read
after we destroy the world? Oh, damn. Oh, am I going to find out the Wheel of Time is fucking the Dark Tower? Where it's the Midgard is just the world after the time has moved on? Oh,
I've said too much.
Damn all of this has happened before. All of it will happen again.
It'll all happen again. I'm even more excited to read it now. I love that shit. That's one of the reasons I was able to finally come to terms with the Dark Tower movie. Roland has reached the tower thousands of times. The story's been told thousands of ways. That movie is just one of the crappier versions of the story. But it still works. It's just one of the trips to the tower. All right. Yeah. Other than that, board games, we actually used my bonus check this year, and I got a couple board games for the family. So I got the new Villainous Marvel edition. They had it at the Craft Warehouse half off. There's a $60 board game. They had it for $29.99. And so that one, we already have the Disney Villainous, which was really fun. I played as Little John trying to collect my gold. And then me and Jana lost to Fashion, who in that one was playing as Ursula. and got all of the Little Mermaid's items and got them into her cave and beat us. And then 2 nights ago, we played Marvel Villainous, where it's got the one with Thanos on the cover. Another beautiful looking game, awesome little icons and cards. And it's a weird game where every person playing has a different goal. You have a different victory set of steps to get to your there's a term for it in game making. I can't remember what it's called, but it's each person has something different that they need to do to win. And so you're not directly in competition. And so it makes it a really fun game. So I was playing Killmonger. I had to kill Claw, kill Black Panther, and then get Dynamite out of the mines to take over Wakanda. Jana was playing as Thanos. She had to collect the 6 gems. Simple enough. And then Fashion was playing as Hela, who had to have a combination of allies and soul marks equaling 8 and then get into Odin's vault with them. And of course, as always, Fashion beat both of us again. And weirdly, we seem to have like not shuffled the cards quite well enough, because by the end of the game, we'd only even got 4 of the Infinity Stones out into the game. Like 4 of them weren't even available to be found yet. And so Jana was having a lot of trouble trying to collect the stones because we hadn't got them into play. So I don't think we'd shuffled the cards well enough. But yeah, the Villainous game is super fun, super family friendly. And because everybody has a different win condition, it's kind of fun because if you're just thinking about what you're trying to do to win, you don't notice what your other opponents are doing. And so then people aren't usually as strategic about like blocking each other. At least we're not with just the 3 of us. But yeah, it makes it really fun because you're like, oh wait, that person's about, oh no, she does that, she wins. Damn it, we gotta stop her. And so like it's a really fun game. And supposedly all the Villainous games can be mixed. So like we're supposed to be able to actually take like the Marvel Villainous and play like Thanos versus Ursula from Disney. Like because you have different win conditions, it's supposed to work that way. We haven't tried it yet, but supposedly all those games can basically just be shuffled together, which I kind of want to try at some point, because yeah, it's a really cool concept. And then I did pick up another one the other day, which we haven't got to play it yet, because as with all things Games Workshop, I have to put it together. But I got the Space Marine board game, which comes with 1 Space Marine, and I think it's 20 Tyrannid bugs. So you've got Hermagants, Termagants, and the little swarms. But you put together this one Primaris Lieutenant in his badass Space Marine armor, and then one person plays him, the other person plays all the bugs, and they try to kill the Space Marine, and the Space Marine with his bolter and chainsword tries to kill all the bugs as you move across the board. Awesome game board. It's for only 2 players. It's a quick 30-minute game, which I thought we would like, because yeah, it took us like 3 hours to play Villainous the other night. And Jana's like, "What? How are we still playing? Why is this game still going? We haven't finished this yet. It's ridiculous." I was like, "Well, I found a new board game that only takes 30 minutes. As soon as I build all the miniatures for it, I will probably not wait to prime, paint, and then play. Will probably play as soon as I put them together." And the nice thing is about this game set, they're not Games Workshop normal prices, where 10 Tyrannids for Games Workshop usually costs you $45. This game itself was $40 and comes with 20 bugs and the Space Marine, dice, everything you need to play. And then these are actual push fit models. So these are ones you can cut them off a sprue. You don't even have to like sand them down or anything if you don't want to. If you just have a pair of, basically needle nose pliers or some wire clippers, you can cut them off the screw, push the pieces together, and they hold together with no glue. You don't have to paint and prime. So this is one where like technically you're building the pieces for it, but there's no real required, like you don't have to go out and buy primer and paints and stuff for this game if you don't want to. You can just push them all together with the push fit, and they will play as just gray models. And they are gorgeous looking models. The Space Marine guy comes on his own little sprue, and it's just a gorgeous looking little figure, which I'm going to be happy to put together and paint, because I have not actually painted what's referred to as the Blueberries, which are the Ultramarines, which are kind of the poster boys for Warhammer. Because, yeah, my Space Marines behind me are all chaos. So they're all evil guys in black and red. So this will be my first Blueberry I get to paint in McCrag Blue, which I'm very much looking forward to.
That'll be
straight up good guy.
So you mentioned your Marvel
what I've
game.
been up to.
You mentioned your Marvel game, and I just have to say, my new favorite Marvel character is Hela the White.
Hela the White?
Did you see What If?
No, I'm not. We let Disney Plus run out. So I was one of those people. I bought Disney Plus for the 3-year edition when it first came out. And yeah, that just expired. And yeah, they took away content and raised the price. So I said no.
Well, I will say, if you want to pick it up for a month, What If and Echo are worth it.
See, Echo I saw because they put it on Hulu.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah,
So,
so
would you agree with me that Echo would be worth it?
I don't know if it'd be worth a month of Disney Plus for Echo, just because I don't like the fact that they decided to give her magical powers.
They didn't give her magical powers.
She's got this, like, the soul tree of ancestors making her hands glow.
No, that's
Echo in the comics.
That is not a soul tree.
Master.
That's Loki.
Well, yeah, it's Loki. But no, well, I will say that if you want to watch Echo and any one other thing, it would be worth a month of Disney Plus. But yeah, I do want to see What If Part 2 because I love Part 1. I'm honestly just waiting for the Marvels to go on Disney Plus, and then I want to get it for a month. Is it there now? Okay,
it's there now.
I've been waiting for that because I want to watch the Marvels. I want to watch What If, and then cry again because they canceled The World According to Jeff Goldblum.
My opinion, which I'm completely biased, by the way. Yeah.
There are no biased opinions on this podcast.
Is that What If Season 2 is exponentially better than What If Season 1?
Whoa.
Okay. Exponentially better.
Exponentially better than the Black Panther Star-Lord episode?
Yeah, and so here's the caveat, though.
Thanos to join him?
Here's the caveat. The showrunner, AC Bradley, has left Disney. She announced it to the public on her X feed the day that the final episode premiered.
Oh, damn. All right, so one question is, What If Season 2 doesn't have an overarching story kind of the way What If Season 1 did?
No, I mean, no, not at all. No.
All right. There are some great What If stories out there.
What year do you think What If Season 2 occurs?
2099, of course. Everything Marvel in the future is 2099.
You're not wrong. Well, on that note, we do need to start shutting things down. But before we do, a big thank you to SP for coming to join us for today. We've missed having you on the show. It was a bunch of fun. Before we sign off, though, now's the chance to shamelessly self-promote. Let all the people know where else they can find you.
Yeah, so we've been talking about Marvel the last few minutes, and I got to tell you, I'm not biased on Marvel at all. I have no equities in Marvel Studios, how well the properties are doing, or if you want to talk about them, because on my podcast, Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D., we talk no Marvel stuff whatsoever. We only talk non-Marvel stuff on Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. That's not true. So what we are doing right now is we are covering, I've seen all the episodes of Echo, but we are covering Echo one by one because there's enough that happens in each episode that we just didn't want to take the whole series in a one episode. So we're doing one by one there on Echo. And we just finished our What If Season 2 coverage as well. We did 3 episodes at a time with What If just because we wanted to get it done, and not that it was bad, but that we wanted to get into Echo as well in a timely fashion. And this is something that I have against Marvel, is that they've flooded the airways so much that you can't really consume and get the secondary like podcasts and reviews out there before they start something else. It was something that happened when they had the Netflix shows out and they dumped all the episodes of the Netflix seasons out there over the weekend, and they still had like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. on TV. And it was too much. And then movies coming out, it was just too much. And they'd been doing a better job at it, but they crashed into it. Anyway, you can find all of that over on Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is on the Gonna Geek Network, or you can go to legendsofshield.com.
Awesome. Yeah, make sure you guys go check that out. There's some quality content there. I mean, I think Bachman and I have both appeared on Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. or the long box edition when that was going on at some point in time. So there's been some cross collaboration between the shows.
Yeah, I was doing all the spider books for a while when I was getting every spider book all the once. That's cost so much money for a while.
It did.
I was getting so many comics.
I can just start that show up back anytime, but I got to tell you, I just don't have the time for it. It was even though the show was only like 8 minutes long, it was the most production intensive show that I've ever done.
But on that note, we are going to shut things down. Before we do that, a friendly reminder that for right now, we stream this show live every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. That'd be 7 p.m. Central, since we're still in the habit of saying that, over at www.gonnageek.com/live. If you're watching us on a different source, that's great. We will probably be in all those places, but the only place you're guaranteed to catch us is gonnageek.com/live. While you're there on the Gonna Geek page, please feel free to go check out all the other awesome podcasts on the Gonna Geek Network. That includes things like Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. or Better Podcasting, the official Gonna Geek show, a variety of all sorts of stuff. We've got all sorts of cool shows that will keep you entertained and happy. And hey, if you want to chat with us, feel free to join the Gonna Geek Discord at gonnageek.com/discord. There is a channel in there for the All Things Good and Nerdy podcast where you can come and heckle us or just give Willie a hard time, because who doesn't like to do that after all?
I would not have appeared here if Willie had shown up.
I wish I could do that. I mean, what? I said the quiet part out loud. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you did.
Oops.
It's your inside voice, buddy.
Oops. Well, on that note, since I can't keep control of my inner monologue, we should probably shut things down, and we will see you all next week. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this brand new episode of the All Things Good and Nerdy podcast. Don't forget, we'll be back next Sunday live at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central over at live.atgnpodcast.com, channel 3 of the Alpha Geek radio app, and over at our network home at gonnageek.com/live. If you have any feedback for the show, please contact us atgnpodcast@gonnageek.com, on our hotline number at 304-806-ATGN, or even better, go to Twitter and send us a message at ATGN Podcast. The music you've heard in this show is produced by Kevin MacLeod and can be found at incompetech.com.